The Bhagavad Gita, Chapter 6, The Yoga of Meditation. Krishna speaks. That devotee who dutifully performs actions without attachments is a renunciate yogi, not one who, without commitment, fails to perform holy offerings. Renunciation is indeed true yoga. No one can be a practitioner of yoga, samadhi, without renouncing egocentric purposes. For the wise one who aspires to samadhi, action is said to be the means. For the devotee who has already mastered samadhi, tranquility is said to be the means. When the devotee is not attached to the objects of the senses nor to actions, and has renounced all egocentric purposes, that one is said to be an accomplished yogi. One should elevate the self-conscious state by self-knowledge. One should not be sorrowful or depressed, for the self alone can be a friend of the self-conscious state, and the self alone can be an enemy of the self-conscious state. For that devotee who has mastered self-consciousness by self-knowledge, the self is a friend. For the one who has not mastered self-conscious states, the self will be in opposition. When self-conscious states have been mastered and one is tranquil, that devotee is stable in self-knowledge. That practitioner of yoga who is satisfied with knowledge and discernment, who is unchanging and has mastered the senses, to whom all observed things are perceived as varied manifestations and expressions of one reality, is said to be established in yoga. That one who is equal-minded toward friend, companion, and foe, among those who are in conflict with each other and who are related, and who is impartial among the righteous and the unrighteous, is accomplished in yoga. The practitioner of yoga should steadfastly contemplate the supreme reality, remaining in solitude, alone, with mind and body controlled, having no cravings for anything. Established in a comfortable, steady meditation posture, in a clean and appropriate place, there, intent upon practice, with thoughts and senses controlled, one should engage in meditation to purify the mind. Holding the body, head, and neck erect, motionless and steady, gazing into the spiritual eye with focused attention, serene, fearless, established in self-control, with mental impulses subdued, concentrating on the supreme reality, the devotee should sit, devoted to the highest realization. The devotee who continually self-disciplined, with mental impulses subdued, and who is tranquil, realizes the supreme state of oneness. Yoga practice is not for one who overeats or engages in extensive fasting from food, nor is it for one who sleeps excessively or who does not obtain adequate sleep. For the devotee whose diet and recreation are moderate, whose actions are disciplined, whose routines of sleep and waking are regulated, the practice of yoga removes all unhappiness. The devotee whose awareness is established in pure consciousness alone, whose mental impulses are regulated, and who is free from cravings and desires, is established in wholeness. As a flame in a windless place does not flicker, to such is compared the concentration of the meditator who, with mental impulses calmed, practices the yoga of samadhi. When mental fluctuations and transformations restrained by yoga practice become dormant, when, because of soul perception, the meditator is content in self-knowledge, the meditator experiences that infinite happiness which is apprehended by the intellect and transcends the senses, and established there does not waver from the truth. Having realized this, no greater fulfillment can the devotee imagine. Established in this, one is not disturbed, even by knowing about profound misfortune. Let this removal of awareness from pain be known as yoga, to be optimistically practiced with resolved intention. Abandoning without exception all desires impelled by egocentric willfulness, subduing the senses by mental control, gradually the meditator should become still. With the intellect firmly concentrated on the reality of the true self, let nothing else be thought about. Whenever mental processes fluctuate and attention wavers, let these be restrained and mastered by self-determination. That practitioner of yoga whose mind is peaceful, whose emotions are calmed, who is established in purity and is God-realized, awakens to the highest bliss. Thus, constantly practicing yoga, the devotee, freed from all restraints, easily has knowledge and experience of God that bestows boundless happiness. The one who is disciplined by yoga practice sees the self equally in all beings, and all beings in the self. That devotee who sees me everywhere and sees all things in me, I am not lost to him, and that one is not lost to me. The yogi, established in oneness, reverently acknowledging me as abiding in all beings, whatever may be the lifestyle, lives in me. The devotee who sees equality in everything, in the image of his own self, whether in happiness or unhappiness, is to be considered an accomplished yogi. Arjuna said, "Because of my restlessness, I cannot comprehend the firm basis for this yoga which you declare as evenness of mind. The mind is unstable, troublesome, strong, and obstinate. It seems to be as difficult to control as the wind." Krishna replied, "Undoubtedly the mind is unsteady and difficult to curb, but it can be mastered by yoga practice and non-attachment. I agree that yoga is not easy to accomplish by one whose self-conscious nature is uncontrolled, but by the devotee whose self-conscious nature is subjected to the soul's will, by right endeavor and proper means, it is possible to accomplish." Arjuna inquired, "What about the devotee who is uncontrolled, though still has faith, whose mind has fallen away from the practice and fails to be accomplished in yoga? What happens to that one? Is that soul lost like a cloud that disappears, having fallen from both worlds, confused, and having no safe haven?" "Only you can completely dispel my doubt. There is none other than you who can do it." Krishna said, "Neither here, on earth, nor in other realms is there loss for such a one, for no one who is righteous takes the path of misfortune. Awakening to the realms of the righteous, and having dwelt there for a long time, the devotee who has fallen from yoga takes a new body in happy, affluent circumstances. Or one may be born in the family of wise practitioners of yoga, though this may be difficult to do in this world. There, memories of past endeavors and acquired knowledge are regained, and the devotee again strives for perfection. Spiritual progress continues irresistibly because of the momentum of prior practice. Then, even the desire to know God enables the devotee to realize transcendence by merging in Om. By perseverance and self-mastery, purified through many incarnations, the devotee awakens to supreme realization. The accomplished practitioner of yoga is superior in realization to devotees who engage in arduous disciplines, and to others who have merely acquired knowledge about God or who perform rituals. Therefore, be a practitioner of yoga. Of all these practitioners of yoga who regularly experience refined superconscious states, that devotee who has merged the inner self in me, who, full of faith, reverences me, is the most steadfast in me." In the Upanishad of the Bhagavad Gita, the science of the Absolute, the scripture of yoga, and the dialogue between Sri Krishna and Arjuna, thus ends the 6th chapter entitled Dhyana Yoga, the Yoga of Meditation.